Cool. All right, really good. Any change in availability from the weekend?
No, pretty much the same. Bill's trained with us today, but tomorrow will probably come too quickly for him to travel with us. Ben Bender's going to get 45 minutes with the Legacy on Wednesday night. And Lial Abada's, looking good as well. Hopefully we'll get him for the Union game, is it, Philly? Yeah,
Awesome.
Rather than Red Bull, yeah.
Oh, so it's more ambitious.
Yes, yeah, so that was pleasing.
That's good. No update on Enzo's departure?
No, not yet, no.
The tactical switch you talked about post-game with Bronico, how satisfying was it to kind of see that change of shape take place and know that you can play a grittier game than maybe you had seen in the past?
I believe that we could do it. We'd done it in the second half at Nashville. We'd done it pre-season when we played against Galaxy as well. I think it's something that we can actually go to and gives us another option. They scored 2 good goals from crosses in Nashville, and I didn't want to give them the opportunity to get balls into the box from wide areas, so we showed them inside, and I thought the lads really worked well and adapted well to the change.
In terms of Chicago, how do they look to you?
I've just been watching a little bit of clips of them now. It'll be a tough game, as everybody keeps telling me. It's tough on the road, but hopefully we can put a change to that. But it's going to be another tough game. They're I think they got beat the weekend, so a bit of a tough time for them. But we have to concentrate on ourselves really.
People ask me, because I come across a lot of people who are not soccer aficionados a lot of times, and they ask me, why is the split so different home road? What do you think is behind that? Is it a self-fulfilling prophecy, or what do you think?
Mentality. I believe some people before they even leave have accepted that it's going to be tougher, and the only reason it's tougher is because that's in your head. You've got to travel. You haven't got your home fans and the home advantage, but the pitches are normally the same size, and you've still got to get into their box and score a goal, and they've got to get in yours, and you've got to defend your box. And I don't believe there is too much in it apart from the home advantages. You've got your fans behind you, and you've got home comforts, but. We should have had more points on the road. Our performances have merited more points, but we've not taken chances on the road so far.
Andrew Privet came here as a midfielder, became a center back a year ago. He's a new manager. Did you always think of him as someone who could stay at center back, or did you kind of tinker and maybe toil with him, maybe playing somewhere else?
No, I came and watched the games last season, and I thought he would be a centre-back when I came here. He's got the physical build, I think. He reads the game really well. He's good on the ball as well, and he's improved his heading ability as well. So I thought he would make that. We've given him a couple of tryouts in midfield during pre-season, but I think he's a centre-back first and a 6 second.
Steve?
Yeah, following up on that with the college kids, and granted this is your first season here, so haven't dealt with that a lot, but you've seen it through your son's progression. Is there a timetable for moving, because every level of the game you go up, it's faster, stronger, harder. Is there a timetable for, you've got some young players like Andrew and stuff, and now Patrick and others, Brandon when he was playing, that have come like straight out of college and been contributors and stuff. Are they ahead of schedule, or is this a norm, or is it an MLS thing?
I think it's probably an MLS thing or a US thing, because you're probably getting players making their debuts, certainly in the European leagues, at the age of 18, 19, 20. Here, because of the college system, it probably gets 22, 23. So they're probably making their debuts a little bit later. But you can see from Patrick's progression so far, if they're ready, then they're ready. And I think at the age of 22, 23, they should be ready. And I have no qualms putting them in You know, if I think they're ready. Andrew Privet certainly looks like it was. He was a draft pick, yeah, yeah. You know, Patrick, draft pick. Tiger Smalls has had minutes recently, draft pick as well. You know, so if they're ready, I think they should be ready coming out of college. What they have to adapt to is the day in, day out, you know, mentality of professional football, I suppose, and you know that's our job to get them ready for that.
And granted, that's the difference when you're in college. You also, being a student is supposed to be a primary thing. But do you feel like the level of the college game is giving them enough of the technical training and just repetition to be professional athletes?
I think it does. I suppose what it also gives you as well, because they've been students, they've been used to being in a classroom, so they should be students of the game as well. You know, so when we come in this learning zone and we're reviewing or previewing a fixture, you know, I expect them to be part of the vocal thing of what they see and what they don't see. And because they're recently out of college, it's actually not as new to them as somebody who maybe not used to that way of how I coach and see the game.
Thank you.
No worries.
Carol, you got one from Ryan?
Ryan, you can go first.
Go for it.
Nicola, is he someone you have in mind to start Wednesday since he didn't start Saturday?
He'll be in mind to start along with 18 other outfield players.
Gotcha. Okay. I also had a question about the off-field treatment rule. This weekend, you know, Messi was upset and said, you know, with this type of rule, we're going in the wrong direction. And I know he kind of echoed a little bit about your sentiments when we first talked about it. Now seeing these rules implemented for a couple of games, has your stance changed that any at all, or do you still agree that they're heading in the wrong direction with some of these?
Yeah, my stance hasn't changed. I made my thoughts on the subject. You know, we conceded a goal against New York, and we have to have a player then go off the pitch because he had treatment during their celebrations of the goal, and he has to go off the pitch for the next 2 minutes. I don't understand that rule. Why should then the team have that advantage? You know, we made the most of the advantage on Saturday. Nashville had only 10 men on the pitch when we scored the goal. I don't see why we should have that advantage. When somebody gets injured, they're not looking to gain an advantage by being down on the floor. I felt it was always, you know, down to referees and for them to manage the games, and I think it's become difficult for them to manage it. You know, with players having to go off now, you know, but there's no bigger voice in the MLS than Lionel Messi. I wouldn't have thought.
And then my last one is more on a couple of times during the season you've mentioned, you know, a little bit, I don't want to call it emotional stability, but you know, you get a sense that sometimes your players are down, and that's something that you've mentioned that you've worked on. Is that something that you've seen improve over these last couple of weeks? Yeah,
it has. You know, I don't want, you know, we had it against Minnesota where a goal changed our mentality, and it shouldn't do. You know, because both teams are trying to do that in a game. That's, you know, what the game is about. But, you know, it shouldn't change your mentality when that happens. So it's about having emotional control and, you know, making sure we don't make the same mistakes. And yeah, we're getting better. You know, we've got some young players within the squad. You know, we've got a young centre-back pairing, for instance. You know, last week against Portland, we had, you know, Crown Legacies, like, you know, front line in terms of Niko Petkovic and Paddy playing up front. So luckily we've got a good mixture. We've got our Ashley Westwoods, Nathan Burns, you know, with the experience that can help the younger players as well. So, you know, it's really important that they keep learning and have that emotional control.
Nice. And one more from me. I asked Patrick Saturday, it seems like a lot of, like Willie mentioned, like the draft picks are coming in, and, you know, there's a certain mentality that they have, right? You've got Patrick playing, Andrew Privet. What have you noticed, particularly from these guys? Like, what are some of the common traits that you see that they're able to just get into the team so quickly and make a difference?
I think what you've seen from the two of them so far is consistency, you know, in their performance, and that's a big thing. good learners as well, as I said before, coming out of college, and they want to get better. And I suppose they feel a kind of pressure being a draft pick as well, that they want to go and do well, and our job is to give them that platform.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cool. Steve, you to follow up?
Yeah, going back to the whole timing issue with that, I mean, for years, soccer has been unique in its fact that the center ref has his watch and they do that, and now they calculate the added time and things like that. Would it be better for the sport to evolve to a hard clock where they just stop the clock when there's time wasting, and even doing it when players on the field? Because it's always been, it should never actually be an issue, because whether players are on the field or off the field, because the referee can always add time. But would a hard clock be better for the sport at this time?
I don't think so, personally. I think that's what a fourth official's for. They're not actually involved in the play. They're giving some advice to the officials who are involved in the game, but their job should be able to, stop and watch and start it again and tell the officials how long they believe should be left
Are
at
they
the end.
consistent in doing that? For some games, like when a goalkeeper's holding the ball for 30 seconds or more and things like that. And the rules have been set up where that should be policed, but it's not.
They're all set up to be policed now, aren't they? They're all wired up, so I think that's down to them, and we have to allow the officials who are in charge to control the game. That's my belief. Rather than we've brought in a new rule this season that we'll see at the end of the season if it's been a success or not. I made my feelings at the start of the season, on it. But I think with VAR as well, we've probably taken a lot of control off the on-field officials now, and a lot of their feel and touch, which is probably going in the wrong direction. VAR was brought in for clear and obvious errors, and we probably need to go back to that sometime.
That's the human part of VAR that needs.
Yeah.
Your game plan to come back Wednesday night and have the guys do their regen, I guess you call it here. I'm learning. Is this something you did in England? Except maybe you weren't getting home at 1 a.m. I mean, are you out here at 3 a.m. watching them practice, or how's this going to go?
Yeah, no, it is something I've done before in the UK, and yeah, we were getting back at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes as well. So, it's one of them where you have to weigh up, and do you get back and let them all go home, and then you get them in later at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? Yeah, some of them got kids and will still be up at 8 o'clock, and you've disrupted their sleep anyway. So it was, for me, what's the happy medium, what's the best plan for it? And for me, it's, get them back, do their regen, get the ones who've started through the bathing contrast, get a massage, and the ones who haven't played, get the workout done, and then get them back home, and they've got the rest of the day to themselves then.
Will that be only if there's a midweek game, or will that be every week?
No, that's only when there's a midweek game, yeah.
Okay.
Need sleeping pods here.
There's a lot of sleeping pods at other clubs. Obviously, I've been to Leicester have them, so obviously you can go back and then they're in the room straight away. But it's just a part of the game, because players need recovery from midweek games to play again on the Saturday, and sleep is the best recovery you can get.
Well, they'd probably prefer practicing in the middle of the night on a hot summer's day, as that goes anyway.
Yeah.
Than 1 p.m.
You're probably right, yeah.
Another kind of off the field question. Alicia Fogarty, as your nutritionist, has she taught you anything new about how American approach to nutrition and team relationship?
I think probably like us coaches, you have coaches associations throughout the world, so you're always seeing different parts of the world and what they do, and nutritionists will be the same. I had an Irish guy who was at Villa, and who'd come from a different sport, come from rugby union. So there's different people, and so it's been interesting with Alicia how she does it. She's got a real good respect from the players, and she'll send a report through to me every now and again, and their body fat, so I'm checking up on them all the time. So yeah, it's pretty good, and she's really good at her job.
I think she needs help with the vegetables. Can you help her with that?
We've got the beetroot now, so we're all right.
The Irish guy, was Guinness part of the nutrition?
Yeah, Guinness and Spuds.
Maybe.
Mike, you got something?
You kind of touched on it touched on it last week about having the 3-game week, and you've touched on, the recovery seems to be the biggest hurdle in a stretch of games like this.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get time on the pitch to go through as in-depth analysis on the opposition as you would normally. So that's the time when you just need recovery strategies, and you're giving some trust to the players as well, but we're working with them as well. It's just like a normal day in terms of, we control 2 of the meals that they have, by what they put out for them, and then you're trusting them with what they eat in their 3rd meal of the day. So, people like Alicia, he's coaching them and educating them on what are the right things to do, and we've got a good performance team here who, helping them to recover and giving them good recovery strategies as well.
With the Enzo situation, how are you feeling with your group that you have between now and the July window in terms of finding offense? Because it's obviously every team's goal, so make sure you've got enough.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good with where we are. I'm good with where the players are. We've had a few little injuries throughout the first 12 games already. A couple of hamstring injuries, calf injuries here and there. But we're starting to get back to, hopefully next week having a full squad to train with.
And as far as goal scoring, I mean, that's obviously every team wants and needs that, and Enzo was a portion of that. Do you have the personnel that you want in place, or are you kind of...
No, I believe if it was going to affect us, if Enzo ends up leaving, then I wouldn't have allowed that to happen. But we're all in agreement that if it does happen, it would be the right thing for the club.
You touched on the young players that you're working with between the big club, Crown Legacy, guys that are up and back. What makes a good pro in your eyes, and do you have the right kind of guys to help these young kids learn what it means to be a pro?
Well, there's only one word I always put to a good pro, and it's attitude. That's the first thing. If you've got a good attitude, then you've got a good chance, because they won't be drafted or scouted and brought in and recruited by the club if they're not good players. But the thing that takes them to the next level is the attitude. So that's the biggest thing that we want to see from them.
And the veterans that you have here, and even with Christian kind of helping, are those guys good not handholders, but
good role models, good standard bearers as well in terms of what we want in terms of our standards here. So they're the ones that can drive the younger players as well.
Cool. Kelly, have a follow-up?
If Bender's able to go 45 minutes Wednesday night, and all goes well, would he come back, and maybe, what's his next step?
His next step will be we'll try and arrange another game here at the training centre, and get him some more minutes in that, maybe 65, 70 minutes, and then keep progressing him from them, because he's been out a long time. You don't want to give him 45 and then jump him into a first team game straight away, and there's too much of a risk of injury or re-injury.
how much of a problem is it for a guy like Ben who's been out for so long? Because I can only imagine he's anxious to get back.
He's very anxious, yeah. He's obviously very keen to get back because he's a real keen baker, and he bought me a nice loaf of bread last week. Yeah, so and it was very tasty as well.
He catches his own fish.
Apparently he catches fish as well. I've been told that as well. Yeah.
Another young player who's seen some more time. What do you think the next step is for Tiger Smalls?
Just to keep progressing the way he is. I've really liked what I'm seeing at the moment. I think he's coming on and having an impact when he's come on so far. He could have scored against New York City. He's done well last week against Portland. I thought he did really well in helping us see out the game on Saturday. Won a free kick on the edge of the box in the last couple of minutes. got caution, but it was probably a good caution, you know, because he delayed a quick attack after Mukhtar had caught the ball and a free kick not been given. But apart from that, it was really clever from him. So he's a boy who's got an awful lot of potential that I'm excited to work with, to be honest.
And one other player I want to at least ask you about with Crown Legacy, Aaron John has been really progressing well and getting some good moments. How much of that is on your radar, and how much have you been able to kind of absorb what he's been doing, since he's obviously, you know, big in the academy and really contributing now?
Yeah, no, he's popped up with some really good, important goals for the Legacy as well. So he's been doing well and improving. And I've made it to all the home games I could so far. So, you know, I've just had a sit down with Jose then, talking about their game and our game Wednesday, and where we can, you know, where players can go. So we're working well as a single entity at the moment, which is only good for us.
Cool. I got Sam Spencer on the Zoom.
Hi Coach, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Sam, you?
Can't complain. So first question, Andrew Privet was just named to the MLS Team of the Match Day. Obviously, you've had a lot of good things to say about him tonight and after the match, but care to add any comments on him, you know, being on the team team?
Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me because I thought he was excellent on Saturday. Put in a really good performance. Kept their two DPs up front really quiet, him and Adil. I think they're making a really good partnership at the moment. So, yeah, there's lots of improvements we've seen. And he's a no-nonsense player who just gets on with his job. He's very low maintenance for me, wants to keep improving. So, yeah, you know, you can be pleased with his performance last weekend.
And then more on Wednesday's match in Chicago. What do you think the keys are to the match and Charlotte being able to improve its road record? I know, you've frequently said, including today, that you think the team has deserved more points on the road. What do you think that you can bring on Wednesday to close the deal?
Well, I think it's got to be our performance levels. I think our last two performances have been good. And I would go back again and say New York, our performance levels, certainly didn't deserve to lose that game. I thought we counter-pressed really well, created some really good opportunities, defended well when we needed to. We need more of the same, but obviously take our chances when they come along. But it's a mentality again, you know. Consistency of performance will get you the result.